Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something, well, pretty staggering. It's OpenAI's latest roadmap, an incredibly ambitious timeline for AI development. And it comes with a price tag that's almost hard to comprehend. We're talking about their plan, their extremely aggressive timeline to get to genuine autonomous AI research.
That's right. It really jumped out from that recent live stream, didn't it? With Sam Altman and Jakub Pachocki.
It really did. They confirmed they're tracking towards creating what they call a legitimate AI researcher system, fully operational, by 2028.
Just 4 years away. It sounds like science fiction almost.
Doesn't it? And if that deadline alone doesn't make you, sit up straight, get this. The infrastructure they say they need, it carries a stated financial obligation of $1.4 trillion.
Trillion with a T. And you can't separate that number from the timeline. The ambition required a fundamental shift. It's really crucial context that this announcement, this 2028 goal, it landed the very same day they finalized their big move to a public benefit corporation structure.
Okay, so the structure change was directly linked.
Absolutely. It shows that this level of ambition, needing that kind of almost unbelievable capital, forced them to remake the company itself. It wasn't just a minor tweak.
Okay, so let's unpack this for you. Our mission here is to get past those headline numbers. We need to understand, what is a legitimate AI researcher in their terms? What are the steps, and how on earth do they plan to spend $1.4 trillion to make it happen? And what does this new corporate structure actually let them do?
Makes sense. Let's start with that timeline. It's incredibly compressed.
Right. They didn't just set that 2028 date. Altman laid out two key milestones. The first one is coming up really soon. An AI acting as an intern-level research assistant by September 2026.
Okay, so an intern-level AI, what does that actually mean according to the source?
Well, as described, it's an AI that can handle specific assigned tasks within an existing research project. Think running simulations, maybe drafting some initial code, analyzing data sets, but needing relatively little human direction for those tasks.
So a very powerful tool, but still assisting humans. Exactly. Competent, but within a framework set by people.
But then, the big one, the leap. This fully automated, legitimate AI researcher system by 2028. That feels like going from intern to, principal investigator in under 2 years.
And that's where Pachocki's definition is key. He was clear this 2028 system isn't just a human researcher using better AI tools. It's the system itself that can deliver on larger research projects. From thinking up the hypothesis, designing the experiment, interpreting results, all autonomously. Basically, it becomes the research team or a core part of it.
Wow. Okay. So if that timeline still sounds, frankly, a bit nuts, they seem to point to current progress as their justification. What really caught my eye was this metric they use internally, the time horizon an AI can manage. Apparently, it's growing fast.
That's a key part of their confidence, yes. The source mentions that current models, even before this massive planned scaling, can manage tasks over about a 5-hour time horizon.
5 hours? What does that translate to?
It means maintaining focus, handling variables, executing complex reasoning, sort of like 5 hours of deep, focused work for a human expert.
Okay. And that's already showing up in real-world performance.
Apparently so. They claim it translates to matching top humans in very specialized areas. The big example they gave was performing at the level of top competitors in the International Mathematical Olympiad, the IMO.
The IMO.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That requires really complex multi-step logic and generating proofs, right? Not just pattern recognition.
Exactly. It's a benchmark for deep reasoning.
But, okay, solving math problems is one thing. How do we get from IMO champ to discovering new physics? Or finding cures for diseases? That feels like a different kind of leap.
And that's the bridge Pachocki explicitly built. He positioned this AI researcher as, well, almost the second to last step. If you connect the dots, his stated belief is that these deep learning systems powered by this scaling might be less than a decade away from superintelligence.
Superintelligence, okay. We hear that term a lot. How are they defining it here?
The definition provided was pretty straightforward. Systems that are smarter than humans across a large number of critical actions. Not just math, but broadly capable.
So the goal isn't just better research tools, it's fundamentally outpacing human discovery.
That seems to be the ambition. AI making breakthroughs faster than, the entire global research community combined, tackling problems that are maybe just too complex for human minds right now.
Right, so it's not just faster research in existing fields, it could be an exponential jump in science itself. Medicine, physics, energy, everything.
That's the potential they're painting.
Okay, so back to the how. If today's models solve proofs with a 5-hour focus, How do they get them to tackle climate change or, cure Alzheimer's? What's the mechanism for that jump?
Well, they're basically betting on two main strategies, according to the sources. First, the obvious one, continued improvements in algorithms, just getting smarter models.
Standard R&D, yeah.
But the second one is where the scale comes in. They're planning to dramatically scale up something specific called test time compute, TTC.
Test time compute. Okay, break that down. Most of the huge compute we hear about is for training the models, right? Feeding them data.
Exactly. Training takes enormous resources. But TTC is different. It's about how much compute, how much thinking time the model gets after it's trained when you give it a specific hard problem to solve.
Ah, I see. So instead of just training it and getting a quick answer, you let it deliberate, spend way more resources on actually figuring out the problem.
Precisely. It extends that time horizon we talked about. Give the model 5 hours of compute time, it performs like an IMO winner, but what if you give it 5 days or 5 weeks? Pachocki's point was that the capacity for really complex reasoning, for simulation, for long-term planning just explodes when you massively increase the test time compute.
And he gave an example of the scale needed.
He did. He said, and this quote really stands out, that for major scientific breakthroughs, it could be worth dedicating entire data centers worth of compute to just one single problem.
Entire data centers for one problem.
Oh.
Okay, now I see where the $1.4 trillion starts to make sense. That kind of dedicated compute requires an absolutely colossal infrastructure build.
You got it. That's the direct link. Research strategy, compute requirements, infrastructure cost.
Altman actually put a number on the infrastructure goal, didn't he? Something about energy consumption.
Yeah, 30 gigawatts. That was the figure cited. 30 gigawatts of power for this infrastructure.
And just for context, 30 gigawatts is, that's like the power draw of a whole major city, right? Like London or maybe a good chunk of New York State.
It's roughly in that ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a staggering amount of energy. We're not just talking about racks of servers. This is fundamental energy and data center construction on a national scale.
And that's how you get to the $1.4 trillion financial obligation over the next few years, is the cost of building and powering that 30 gigawatt machine.
Mm-hmm. And like you said before, $1.4 trillion isn't your typical corporate budget. That's like the annual GDP of Spain or Australia. It's nation state level spending.
Which immediately brings us back to the question. How does a company that started as a nonprofit suddenly gear up to handle capital needs, usually reserved for, governments or global investment funds?
And that is precisely why the corporate restructuring wasn't just timely, it was absolutely necessary. The public benefit corporation structure is the key to unlocking both the money and managing the mission.
Okay, let's dive into that PBC transition. How did it solve the money problem?
Well, the original nonprofit charter had limitations. It was designed for, research and safety, not for raising literally trillions of dollars for infrastructure. It couldn't really support that kind of massive capital influx needed for this compute scaling.
So the PBC structure allows them to have a for-profit arm.
Exactly. The PBC structure creates a for-profit entity that can go out and raise that $1.4 trillion from investors, build the data centers, secure the power. It enables the massive scale up.
But you said it has a dual purpose. It's not just about the money.
Right. That's the crucial part of the PBC model. It's a hybrid. While enabling the for-profit drive, it also includes a legally binding commitment to a public benefit mission. In OpenAI's case, that's tied to ensuring AI benefits humanity, responsible development, safety, the original nonprofit ideals.
So it lets them chase the capital, but mandates they still pursue the public good stuff alongside the profits.
That's the idea. It tries to embed the ethical mission into the corporate DNA, even as it operates on a massive commercial scale.
Okay, so how does that actually work in practice? How do the nonprofit part maintain any control or influence if there's this giant for-profit engine needing $1.4 trillion?
That's the governance framework they set up, and it's quite specific. The original nonprofit, now called the OpenAI Foundation, which is still focused purely on the science, safety, and broad benefit. It owns 26% of the new for-profit PBC arm.
26%?
Yeah.
Controlling stake, is it?
Numerically, no. But the sources indicate that within their specific governance rules, that 26% stake gives the nonprofit foundation significant rights, including the ability to influence or potentially veto major decisions about the core research direction.
So it's a minority stake, but with special powers, designed to keep the superintelligence pursuit aligned with the original mission.
That seems to be the intent. to act as a check, ensuring the $1.4 trillion investment serves not just commercial goals, but also the safety and benefit mandate.
And it's not just oversight, right? The nonprofit is actively directing some resources too.
Yes, that's another key piece. The sources highlight a very concrete commitment. The nonprofit foundation has $25 billion specifically earmarked to use AI to cure diseases.
25 billion just for disease cures.
Right. That's presented as tangible proof of the PVC's public benefit mandate in action. It's a massive, specific philanthropic goal running in parallel with the push for AGI and superintelligence. It helps manage the overall research portfolio and safety initiatives.
So, okay, let's try and pull this together for you listening. We've got these almost contradictory forces at play. On one hand, this incredible speed and ambition, an AI researcher system by 2028.
Paired with just unprecedented scale and cost, the $1.4 trillion infrastructure, the 30 gigawatts of power.
And then underpinning it all, this necessary corporate shift to a public benefit corporation.
Right, a structure designed specifically to handle that massive cost while trying to maintain ethical guardrails through that nonprofit ownership stake and governance rights, plus that huge $25 billion commitment to disease cures. It's like trying to balance maximum speed with maximum responsibility.
So the final thought to leave you with, thinking about all this, given this deliberate structure, the PBC, and that very specific, very large $25 billion pledge for curing diseases, what does it really mean? What does it signify when the quest for superintelligence, arguably the biggest technological and commercial prize ever, is explicitly tied not just to profit, but also to these massive, high-stakes philanthropic missions, complete with their own timelines and pressures? That's the tension to watch as we approach 2026 and then 2028.